Continuing right now as we track showers and storms across Alabama. We're on your side where those storms are and what we can expect for the rest of this week.
Plus, we check in with local leaders from West Alabama as they share their preparation tips for this year's hurricane season.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And we'll kick it off right now with some of these videos and images that you shared across the First Alert Weather app over the weekend. I know you were getting those alerts from our team as those storms move through central Alabama. A lot of rain, heavy rain, strong winds, and we had nearly at one point it was 130,000 customers without power. And every state, Alabama was the hardest hit with respect to those outages that were damaged, reports of downed trees. And I had a friend over in Tuscaloosa, a tree fell on his house. Thankfully he's okay, but you know, it's been a prime recipe with all the rain we had in May. And you were talking earlier, I know you're going to get into this, but about some of those rain amounts in this month already. Tuscaloosa is almost back to tying the normal.
Yeah, it's incredible amounts of rain, and it doesn't take 60-mile-per-hour winds to knock those trees down at this point. So, yeah, I was one of those people. I was at my house that afternoon when those storms blew in, and I was just looking around outside. I'm like, please, no trees go down, you know. So I had some flowers not make it, though.
Well, I know it's hard to believe because you were here for most of the weekend. You and Lauren were doing a great job over the weekend. But, Matt, we are tracking some storms now. Need to get right to that. The next big thing, that we are seeing some scattered storms on radar moving across West Alabama. We've got scattered coverage tonight. The coverage backs off a little bit tomorrow, but still there's a chance in the morning you might see a little bit of wet weather out the door, and then again for the afternoon. And then the heat, the humidity really builds, especially by the end of the week. And plus, we have afternoon storms likely, so we're really starting to lock into that summertime mode. Some of those storms may be severe, and that's going to be the case next several months. When you have storms in the afternoon, most of the time, you got to watch out for that risk of some damaging winds. But at the moment, meteorologist Matt Daniels back on the radar controls here. We're going to take you around the state here, a little radar roundup on what's happening with First Alert AccuTrack. But we'll start out to the north. This was a more intense storm as it moved in from Mississippi. It moved in across Marion County, and at the moment, no lightning with this, so it has weakened some. This is that one we were tracking across Winfield and Guin, but still some pockets of heavy rain in here. We were mentioning around Lynn and Natural Bridge, those areas. If this holds together, just giving you the first alert, Jasper, north towards Manchester and over towards Saragossa could see some rain and maybe a little bit of rain around Smith Lake. Let's watch that just in case, you know, we start to see another little cell develop out ahead of this, maybe some lightning around Smith Lake. Just stay weather alert. But these storms that were over Pickens County, probably one of the most intense storms of the afternoon in our area, just moved through Reform. It's since weakened some. It's moving east-southeast at 17, but notice the track here. You can see there on the screen some first alert times. We're seeing around Forest Green around 6:46. That's Buell Elementary School around 6:39. And it looks like Coker Heights there around 6:49 as well. So just giving you some first alert times on this. It looks like it's running right there just along and south of Highway 82. But this will hold together. Likely hear some rumbles there moving in towards the city of Tuscaloosa and Northport. And now we've had some scattered development over Chilton County. One of the stronger storms at the moment is right around Maplesville. Matt will put a time on this. It looks like the worst of this is going to stay just south of Isabella, even though you're close enough. If you're in that area vicinity, you want to be indoors, but you can see it's moving towards Pools Crossroads. Looks like 6:57 in arrival time. And then a quick check on East Alabama, and we do have storms over Clay County right now. This is south of Ashland, and these are moving east-southeast, so these will be moving south of Talladega, south of Anniston. But still, we have this wave of scattered storms and showers. That's all going to be drifting through tonight, and then the rain chances back off, maybe a couple of showers around as we head into early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at those rain chances as we move ahead, and you can see there through Wednesday and Thursday the rain chance drops off. Actually, by tomorrow and Wednesday it's still there. Need to stay alert for a few isolated pop-ups even during the morning, but again by Friday and Saturday a likely chance we'll see more widespread scattered storm impacts. But we'll talk more about those rain chances coming up. But we're on your side with First Alert Weather Extra, talking to Irondale Police after the importance of being prepared before enjoying the outdoors. This is after the rescue of 4 teenagers who ended up stranded on the Cahaba River overnight, a river swollen with all the heavy rain that we dealt with yesterday. Your reporter Taylor Pollock joins us live from the First Alert desk. Taylor?
Absolutely, Wes. Swollen's the perfect word to describe it. Irondale police are describing the teen's survival as a miracle and saying there's an important lesson to learn here, a reminder to enjoy the Cahaba River responsibly. That includes having proper flotation devices and also being mindful of the conditions. All 4 of those teenagers were members of Moody's high school football team, but they ran into trouble when the inflatable pool they were using as a raft began to have issues. Lieutenant Jason Hill with Irondale PD says the story is a great reminder for those wanting to enjoy the Cahaba River to do so responsibly. He says all of the rainfall that we've seen over the past few days has created some dangerous conditions in some points along the river with higher levels and fast moving water. And the Cahaba is a watershed, meaning more rainwater runs off and collects in the river. He says he's relieved no one was injured and asks that people know before they go and enjoy an outing on the river.
We have a lot of rain. Then a lot of times that rain, you might see it, the Cahaba River be impacted immediately, but that impact could last 24 to 48 hours. It's very important that those people are aware of the dangers and kind of prepare for it.
It's easy to check water levels and other conditions you need to keep in mind when planning an outing on the Cahaba River. You can go to Cahaba Blueways website. We'll include a link to that in this story on our website. From the First Alert Desk, I'm Taylor Pollock.
All right there, Taylor, and many reports of damage this weekend across our region, and this, of course, following all those storms from Saturday. We're still getting some reports today. A lot of trees down in many areas. Right now, I want to go to Matt. Again, Matt, you were showing, I just couldn't help but notice on this map, you talked about this on Saturday where you see all these little dots. That's where we have wind damage reports, but we were just covered up on Saturday.
Yeah, early that afternoon, we were watching those storms develop in Mississippi, and they had a dangerous tag to the severe thunderstorm warning that was moving towards Pickens, indicating winds up to maybe 80 miles per hour. And it's like, uh-oh, if it's starting at that point, it's going to be pretty bad around here.
And I just want to mention, too, because, we see days we have marginal, we have slight risk. And I just think back to May, 2 of our most impactful days were marginal risk days. So that's why it's so important, check in with us as we sort of, evaluate the radar situation, put it all into context, because there's going to be some days where you might see, hey, it's just a marginal risk. That's still a risk for severe weather.
And it just takes one storm and it can cause some issues.
Exactly.
So let's talk about those storm reports, shall we? We're looking at several of them. All these white dots that you see on your monitor right here, those are wind reports that occurred on Saturday. So we had those storms really intensify in northern Mississippi, spread towards the east. And the northern half of our state had numerous reports of wind damage from that wind knocking down trees and, of course, creating numerous power outages. And notice the storms did not just fade away. They impacted a good bit of metro Atlanta and North Georgia and even into parts of the Carolinas. Over 260 wind reports were recorded alone from that event Saturday. And just to give you an idea of how strong the winds were, Talladega picked up a wind gust up to 63 miles per hour. Right here in Birmingham, the airport recorded a 61 mile per hour wind gust. And even in Madison County, we had winds gusting at right around 58 to 60 miles per hour. And severe thunderstorm warnings, when they are issued, they have to have winds greater than 58. So that's what we saw, and we saw numerous warnings and, of course, thousands of people without power. And this week, we're on your side with a WBRC safety check on hurricane season and how you can get your home and your family prepared. And tonight, your West Alabama reporter Brian Henry takes a look at what you need to have in your pantry and the go bags right now.
It's a quiet day in Hill County for EMA Director Russ Whedon, more than a week into hurricane season. Even though Greensboro is some 200 miles away from the coast, Russ Whedon says that is a mistake so many people make.
Especially this far inland, they don't think it's going to affect us this far up.
The bad assumption a hurricane can't do much damage this far inland.
But it will. It certainly will.
Whedon points to Hurricane Helene striking Georgia 9 months ago as a Cat 2 storm, powerful enough to kill 37 people across our neighboring state. Remember, hurricanes often spawn tornadoes, and Hill County knows all about them. That is the very reason Whedon says now is the time to prepare for hurricane season, not one day before a named storm strikes the Alabama coast.
Preparing now, having non-perishable food items in your pantry that can last 3 or 4 weeks. And making sure they watch out for their neighbor. That's huge. So we have a big elderly population here.
30 miles away in Centerville and Bibb County,
I think I'd be very scared if I had.
24-year-old Katie Cheslock has already taken the crucial steps to prepare herself should a hurricane strike this far inland or its menacing tornadoes.
My dad's raised me to always try to make sure I have something in my pantry just to prepare, whether it be just rice or bread, cereal.
Phones charged up.
Perhaps no one knows better than Centerville Mayor Mike Oakley on the importance of being prepared. The mayor spent 39 years total in the military, 17 of those in special forces. Not being ready was never an excuse. In short, having situational awareness is the key to survival.
Have your portable devices charged up, have extra batteries, have flashlights, candles, make sure the candles are in safe places that you won't catch anything on fire.
And don't forget generators, according to Mayor Oakley. History tells us there is always the story of someone who could have prepared better for the coming storm.
Procrastination, not being prepared, fatigue makes cowards of everybody.
But we also know, according to Mayor Oakley, more people take weather seriously today than just 10 years ago. Hard lessons are often the best teachers.
Also, we've been popped by tornadoes and spin-off from hurricanes.
The path to recovery is always challenging after a storm, whether it's a hurricane, tornado, or ice storm. Power outages, fallen trees, and worst of all, the loss of a loved one.
People don't think about it until it happens, and then they think somebody else is going to take care of them. So what I want to get out is, hey, now's the time to prepare yourself. Don't depend on others.
Wise words from a veteran EMA director who has seen death and destruction up close on the road in Hale County. Your reporter in West Alabama, Brian Henry, WBRC 6 News, on your side.
And in 30 seconds, don't put that umbrella away just yet. That chance for showers and storms return later this week, and we'll tell you when you can expect it and take you around the country to places also impacted by severe weather.
First Alert Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt tracking a strong storm now over Tuscaloosa County. This is that same storm that moved across Reform and Gordo. It's now around Buell and Coker. Some intense lightning here, though. Cloud to ground lightning. Looks like, let's go ahead and put some times on here. Over the next 30 minutes, we will see this move in towards the city of Tuscaloosa, moving at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Looks like this is going to put this over towards Taylor Circle around 653, Pearson Subdivision 653 as well. And looks like Royal Pines around 652. So a first alert there. Storms building north towards Wyndham Springs. If we go to the big picture, though, right now we're not seeing storms around Birmingham to Centerville, but these cells will track eventually to the east. Some of this could end up around anywhere between Birmingham and Centerville. Some rain moving in towards Jasper, and then we have some lightning producers south of Sylacauga over into southern Clay County. So still tracking some wet weather out there. We'll break down rain chances for the next couple of days, all coming up in first alert weather, but taking you now to Mississippi, where water rescues had to take place today after extreme flooding. This video shared by the Leake County Firefighters Association. A flood warning in effect until tomorrow evening as the Tuscaloosa Creek at Walnut Grove continues to fall below flood stage later tonight. Matt?
Yeah, and in Texas, strong storms leaving a Texas news station with major damage. Check this out. It happened late Sunday night as a twister hit KTXS in Abilene. This tornado damaging the station's tower and impacting much of the building. It caved the garage in and blew off the studio's roof. Thankfully, there were no injuries, and the station is working to get back on the air. And yeah, we had some intense storms. They actually the Storm Prediction Center issued a moderate risk, a 4 out of 5 for parts of Texas. They were expecting a Boeing segment of storms with intense wind, and that's exactly what we saw happen. This was from radar from yesterday evening around 7 p.m. See, these storms really picked up steam and bowed out, and so we saw several wind reports of extreme winds that knocked down trees and, of course, resulted in numerous power outages in parts of Texas. And here's some of those wind gust reports. I was looking at this from the Storm Prediction Center, and Go Read, Texas had a report of 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That is absolutely incredible. They actually issued a severe thunderstorm watch, but they called it a PDS thunderstorm watch, meaning a particularly dangerous situation, saying winds could exceed 100 miles per hour. And that's exactly what we saw. 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts there in Lakeview, Texas, 86 83. So we're talking about winds gusting greater than hurricane force. So absolutely incredible, Wes.
All right, Matt, don't go anywhere. We continue to talk about what you can expect for the week ahead and tell you how you can stay safe from mosquitoes as you head outdoors this summer. We'll see you right after the break. And welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Tracking scattered storms around the area. We've had some intense storms around parts of Chilton County with the lightning there, and also around Tuscaloosa, as you can see, and also tracking some storms over southern Clay County. But watching these just localized areas of heavier rain and storms that will continue to track east across the area. So just keep an eye to the sky. Stay alert. Make sure you have that First Alert Weather app nearby. You go further north and east right now, not seeing much happening. Anniston to Gadsden, that northeastern corridor. Blount County, things are pretty quiet, but again, still could see some rain and maybe some additional development here over the next couple of hours. Let's go into Chilton County, Matt. We'll start out right here, and then we'll go over to Tuscaloosa, but I just want to show you this. You can see this storm that's crossing the interstate here. Folks south of Calera, some big-time impacts here on 65. So this will move to the east. It says tracking at about 17 miles per hour, but there's a chance that we could see some 35 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts crossing around the Coosa River by 7:14, maybe some nickel-sized nice hail with this. Here's Olathe Lake. You're close enough with that lightning. If you hear those rumbles, just stay indoors until this passes, but this is tracking to the east direction. Over in Tuscaloosa right now, a very strong storm, a lot of lightning here. This is impacting Northport. Here it comes around Coker to Northport, right around Lake Lurleen State Park, and there's Inglewood. If you kind of follow along with the trajectory of this, the AccuTrack system's telling us that this might develop south towards places like Menorah Estates and Taylorville, but you can see just some first alert times there. This is over in Tuscaloosa County, Kings Acres around 7 o'clock and tracking to the east-southeast. It's a non-severe storm, but you can see quite a bit of lightning there, over 30 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes just over the past 15 minutes. But heavy rain all up along Lake Tuscaloosa, back into western Tuscaloosa County, so this will work its way across Tuscaloosa County down towards Taylorville. But if you're watching me from Duncanville to Centerville, first alert for you, because that storm could certainly work its way in that direction. Here's a live look from the banks of the Warrior River at the Tuscaloosa River Market. First alert Sky Vision, and here it comes. You can see that nasty storm there just to the west of town, and just to plan for that risk of lightning to increase as it moves, but some real heavy rain just across the river there. It should actually pick up here at the camera site at any moment here right there along the river walk, but folks need to be indoors. There's a look from the Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater in Tuscaloosa as well. You can see right there at 80 degrees of current temperature, but these scattered storms and showers will continue to track to the east tonight, and then we'll see those rain chances overnight becoming more limited. There's still some indications out the door tomorrow morning. There might be a few isolated showers, but notice tomorrow afternoon still could see some scattered coverage around this time. So let's just stay weather alert for that. And then by the end of the week, storm chances increasing again by Friday. But it does look like later this week, rather than organize big complexes of storms just blasting through the state, I think the setup might be a bit more sluggish. We might have some slow movers, more of a flood risk that we'll need to watch out for Friday and Saturday. Not an all-day washout, but again, scattered storms. Certainly a stormy pattern here for early June that will continue right on into next week. But right now what we want to do is talk a little bit more about the long range, and it's starting to feel hot. It's starting to feel humid. Matt, you start thinking tropics, but what are we seeing right now?
Yeah, well, it looks like in the long term, June, we may remain unsettled, but the big question, what about the tropics? And really the focus now is in the eastern Pacific, which is pretty normal. We usually see development earlier in the season in this area of the world. And we got two named storms, our first hurricane in the northern hemisphere for the year. So, and that's Barbara right there. But as you can see, the rest of us remaining quiet over the next 7 days. So good news there. And looking beyond the 7-day and looking beyond with the tropics, the global tropics hazards for the next 2 weeks. This is June 18th through the 24th. There's no models really indicating tropical development, but the area that we'll be watching is in the southern portions of the Gulf. There is a low chance we could see something try to form, which is a typical area in the month of June. Usually June can be pretty quiet, mainly only see 1 or 2 named storms at best, but that's about it. But we'll keep a close eye on, of course, you can monitor the tropics through the WBRC First Alert weather app. And with the chance of rain and chance for higher temperatures and humidity as we head throughout the week, mosquitoes could put a damper on some fun in the sun. You can see them buzzing behind me. Insect experts say there's certain factors that could make you a prime target there. Strategies you can do to help keep yourself from becoming a bug buffet. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten takes a closer look.
The warmer and wetter weather is creating excellent conditions for blood-sucking and disease-spreading mosquitoes to thrive. And one mistake you don't want to make is thinking you only need protection if you're going deep into the woods.
If you're walking the dog 2 or 3 times a day or just out in your yard gardening, you're as prone to mosquito bites and tick bites as you are if you're walking the Appalachian Trail.
According to insect specialists like Eric Benson of Clemson University, mosquitoes are attracted to the smell of people's body odor. Repellents help mask our scent.
Really what it does is hide you from the insect finding you.
You can also wear long-sleeve shirts and pants to minimize exposed skin. Meanwhile, if you're hoping citronella candles will make a dent, you're going to need a lot.
They're volatilized in the air. And so for it to be effective, you have to have a certain concentration of those volatiles coming out.
But are some people just natural mosquito magnets? Previous studies suggest the insects prefer people with type O blood, but some researchers say that's debatable.
I would
Well, tracking a couple of strong storms at the moment, Matt. We have this one over Tuscaloosa moving southeast. Stay indoors. A lot of lightning with that. Also watching this one that's over Chilton County.
Yeah, so we'll be watching it. You can monitor on your First Alert weather app, and we're going to have more right at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll see you tonight, first at 9.